that was one of the things, in the end, why I chafed so much inside the whole Triumph thing. You know, you're in that machine, and that machine can only be one kind of thing. You can't make it be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different kinds of things. And I really hated that. And it made me unhappy as an artist, as a writer, as a player, as a recording artist, all of those kinds of things, however you define all of those labels, you know. So, in the end, it was a question of having to get out of that shoebox.
You influence people's lives. How often do any of us get an opportunity to do that, you know? It's like, to me, like, this whole thing it's totally mind-blowing what we were able to. At the time, you didn't even think about it, but when you look back on it now, you go, wow, you know, we did all that, and you didn't get a fan letter, and, you know, somebody listened to a song, they were going to commit suicide, and the song gave them new hope, and they ended up doing whatever they did with their lives, and you go, man, like this, you know, the respect that you should have for the power, every musician, every entertainer should always respect that, you know, and never abuse it. Did I just say that?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Making music has always been the most important thing to me, and it was more important than the haircut that I had, or the video that I was going to make, or the, you know, the business deal I was going to have. I knew that all those things were important. It's not like I don't even use a little hairspray from time to time, you know. But I understand about show business, but I was never going to put show business ahead of trying to make good music, make good records, and be humble in the process of writing and singing and playing my guitar. So, if you want to call that integrity, okay. I think it was Gil's sort of plan that once we had the deal with RCA in the States, that we would try and use tour support and build up our own little sound and lights thing, so that when we were playing a gig in a place like Cleveland, the promoter wasn't having to pay, you know, however many thousands of show costs to an S&L company. We were going to get the sound and lights money. We were going to bring our rig in, and we were going to get sound and lights money. So that was a brilliant plan. Even though we were playing small places, we go and we play the small theater, and we do a small house. People would go, you know, the next day, the word of mouth, they go, you should have seen this band.
It was about the show.
Yeah, they had, you know, they blew off, you know, flash pots, and they had lights all over everything, and my God, it's unbelievable. You gotta see Triumph.
You know, we wanted to have a good show or a great show. We wanted to do things other people didn't do. We always looked at music as the live part of making music as being entertainment. And entertainment value, you know, in those days was not the greatest in the world. You know, bands would go out with, you know, 50 lights kind of and think they were putting on a great show. And, you know, I was one that, you know, I loved going to Vegas and seeing the shows there because they just had everything in them, you know, and we tried to incorporate as new technology came out, excuse me, and we could afford to use it on stage. You know, we try and incorporate it if we could. You know, Gil was great at putting all that stuff together.
We really felt that the live performance was, you know, a bonding thing with the audience where the more excited they got, the more excited we got. So if we played a show and there wasn't a real strong response from the audience, we didn't consider they were being polite. We considered they were being bored. So we really tried to make the live shows like a real intense, fired up, emotional, sweat, guts, and the whole ball of wax. Just,
you know, we never had the classic hit record that went to the you know, to the top 10, and as a result, you know, we gained a lot of popularity. Ours was very slow, and it was based on live concerts. So without doing this, never would have happened.
1, 2, 3, fire. 1, 2, 3, fire.
Rock and roll is people's music. And a record company can create whatever they want and say, this is the people's music. Or radio can say, this is the people's music. But the people will decide what the people's music is.
When the lights go down, it's all the same
When
thing.
the lights go down, what can I tell you? Hear it, you feel it sometimes. And there's those moments where everybody flicks a bit. And, you know, I can remember moments like where you just see those lighters all the way up to the rafters. And that's a phenomenal moment. But generally speaking, you know, it's neater to be playing something or singing something and you look up and you can actually see into people's eyes. That's a good thing. We started playing live, and everything we did was spawned from playing live. We would play, people would respond to us, then people would buy our records. People would, you know, call the radio station or whatever. But it was never the other way around. We weren't like a flash-in-the-pan hit single. Boom, these guys are big, where do they come from? It was always very, very gradual, you know, and it was all based around live performing.
What did you get out of it, that stage performance?
That was the best. That was the culmination of a day of travel, checking into hotels, going to a couple of radio interviews, going to sound check, and then coming back to the hotel and getting to relax and watch Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, and then go back to the gig and play, which was the culmination of the day, which is the only reason the day existed. You'd spend 10 hours to get to that 90 minutes, and that 90 minutes had better be good. You know, otherwise, what are you doing it for? But, you know, when the house lights went dark and everybody lit a candle or a match or a lighter, you just buzz, you know, just buzz. And we had one of the best intros in rock and roll, so the place was rocking before we even hit the stage.
Please give a rock and roll welcome for Trent!
I'm walking out, and it's just like the adrenaline would flow. You have to calm down now. You still got 90 minutes to go.
You really miss those days, don't you?
I once was quoted as better than sex. My wife didn't talk to me for months after. But it was, you know, those were fabulous times and fabulous moments. You know, things you never forget.
If you look back to bands that started in the 70s, it was a lot harder to get your message out. You know, there was no much music. There was no much more music. There was no MTV. It was go play for the people. When Triumph started, there was no MTV. The business was a totally different business. And then we became one of the first darling bands of MTV, only because we were one of the only ones that had videos. We, you know, put a couple of, you know, and this was Mike's vision, a good one, that we should have songs and we should have videos. Decided that it was time to really put the emphasis in our direction on the United States, because we wanted to break the United States. You know, we wanted to end up on the US Festival. We didn't want to be a band that couldn't be on the US Festival. We wanted to be on the US Festival. The only way to do that was to be big in Florida, big in Wyoming, big in Oregon, big in Texas, big in New Jersey. And the only way to do that is you got to play all those markets and meet all those people.
Obviously, it's worked because you're playing the US Festival this month.
Yeah, it's been great.